Hello my dear friends, my name is Dr. Nitin and welcome to Perio Basics. In this video I am going to describe a free gingival graft procedure to you. Before we go ahead with this procedure, let us discuss a few facts about this procedure. First of all, periodontal aesthetic surgeries, they are very delicate surgeries. So you have to be very gentle with the tissue, and at the same time you should be fast enough so that when you are harvesting a autogenous graft from the palate or from any other place in the oral cavity, it should be outside the oral cavity for minimum duration of time. Also, you have to do a very careful examination of the patient to decide what kind of root coverage procedure or aesthetic procedure you want to go ahead with. Now, as far as the free gingival graft procedure is concerned, the primary indication for free gingival graft procedure is to increase the width of keratinized tissue. Initially in 1963, when it was introduced by Zahn, and then it was explained in detail by Sullivan and Atkins in 1968. The procedure was basically to increase the width of keratinized tissue, because as we know that a minimum thickness of the keratinized tissue is very essential or required to prevent any kind of mucogingival defects. Now, at present, we do the free gingival graft procedure for two purposes. First is to increase the width of keratinized tissue, and at the same time we can go ahead with the recession coverage procedure also. So there are different indications and there are different clinical situations where this graft procedure is indicated. Now, in this case that I'm going to demonstrate you today, we are going to achieve both of these goals. We are going to increase the width of keratinized tissue, as well as we are going to cover the recession also. So let's go ahead with this procedure and let's see how this procedure is done.
Now here is the case. You can see that the recession on central incisor is extending almost up to the mucogingival junction. There is muscle pull also, so we need to relieve the muscle pull, as well as we have to cover the recession. So we are going to do both of the procedures, the root coverage procedure as well as increasing the width of keratinized tissue. So first of all, we go ahead with the first step in this procedure, that is root planing. The root surface should be absolutely free of all the debris to achieve a proper soft tissue attachment. So with the help of curette, I am removing all the debris and planing the root surface to achieve a smooth root surface. Now coming on to the incisions now, you can see that the incisions are placed at the level of the cemento-enamel junction of the tooth, leaving the papillas intact, and then vertical incisions are placed in a trapezoid shape. According to Zucchelli, the incisions should be placed almost 3 mm mesial and distal to the margins of the recession, and apically it should extend almost 4 mm from the apical end of the recession. So you can see that I am removing the epithelium, preparing the recipient bed, and extending the incision approximately 4 mm apical to the defect. Here I have removed all the tissue tags, and this is our recipient bed now. I have relieved all the muscle attachment, and this is our recipient bed. Now we have to measure the dimensions of the recipient site so that we can harvest a proper size graft. Now I am using an aluminum foil to do that. Every different clinicians have different methods of doing it. I use a aluminum foil for that. Now measured aluminum foil is now placed on the palate, and now I am placing the probe and taking the dimensions of this aluminum foil, and this is how I do it. Now we have the markings now, and now we can start harvesting the graft. With the help of blade, 50 number blade, I place incision in the epithelium, and I have to demarcate the area for harvesting the graft. Here you can see this. You have to keep in mind that your blade should be in the epithelium and the connective tissue. It should not sever the periosteum, because there is no point in giving a full incision up to the bone, because we have to harvest only the epithelium and the connective tissue. And this is a very delicate procedure. You should do it very carefully, preventing any injury to the greater palatine vessels, because if you cut the vessels, you will have profused bleeding. So ideally, the graft should be taken from the mesial aspect of the first molar till canine. Now with the help of periosteal elevator, I am trying to elevate the graft, and you have to use BP blade also to release the tissue from the underlying periosteum. Now you can see that most of the tissue has been relieved from the underlying periosteum, and from mesial to distal I am releasing the graft, and this is how the graft is taken from the oral cavity. Now this is the harvested graft, you can see. And first of all, you have to stop the bleeding from the palate. You can use pressure gauze, and then what I do is I place a suture first, and then I am removing the glandular tissue, the fatty tissue. Now the fatty tissue is removed to improve the vascularity of the graft. Now this is placement of the harvested graft onto the recipient side. After placing the graft, we have to engage the periosteum with the help of needle, and this is how I am engaging the periosteum, and very gently this suture is placed. This is how you have to use, very delicately you have to suture this area. Thin suture material has to be used, 60, 70 you can use. And this is how the first interrupted suture is placed. Similarly, another suture is placed on the other side of the graft, similarly by engaging the periosteum. A detailed description of the theoretical aspect of this procedure has been given in my book Perio Basics. You can buy this book from my website periobasics.com. And this is how our second suture is placed. Now one thing that you have to remember always while doing the free gingival graft procedure is that the graft should be absolutely immobilized in the area where it has to be placed, because if there is movement in the graft after the procedure, the healing is going to be hampered and you won't get any kind of good result after the procedure is done. So absolute immobility of the graft is a prime requirement. So in this kind of surgical procedure, I give 4 interrupted sutures and then 2 suspended sutures. You will see that. Now the 2 sutures on the coronal aspect I have placed. Now I'll be placing 2 sutures on the apical aspect. This is the first one. Here you can see now graft is almost immobile, and now I'm going to place the another suture on the apical aspect on the other side, and this is how I place it. You can see this. Here goes the last interrupted suture. Now you can see that all the interrupted sutures, they are placed, the graft is almost immobile, and now we are going to place the suspending sutures which are to be suspended from the cingulum of the central incisor on the lingual aspect. I place two sutures. First is which engages it from the apical aspect. You can see that I have suspended the suture around the central incisor like this, and now you can see that I'm placing this knot so that our graft is totally secured under this suspended suture. You have to be very careful while placing the knots, because the graft should not be displaced or pulled off while placing the knots. And this is how first suspended suture is placed, and now I'm going to place another one. This one I place a little distal from the site where the graft has been placed, and suspend it on the other side adjacent teeth, so that a crisscross like engagement of the graft is achieved and the graft is completely immobilized. Now I'm using lateral incisor of the other side, and then I'm extending it, and then I'm suturing it, like placing the knots, and here you can see that the knots are placed, and this is the final outcome of our procedure. And you can see that the graft is completely immobile, and now we are going to cover it with the help of dressing. And the palatal wound, we can give an acrylic plate to protect the wound so that there is proper protection of the area. Now this is 10 days after the surgical procedure. You can see the coverage, the palatal donor area is healed, primary healing has taken place, and this is 6 months after the surgical procedure. You can see that the recession is almost covered, and we have achieved an adequate width of attached gingiva. This is how this procedure is done.
So this is how free gingival graft procedure is done. I hope this video was useful for you. Thank you very much. See you next time.